Κυρίες και κύριοι, συνεχίζουμε τη συζήτηση για τις Ηνωμένες Πολιτείες και για το τι αλλάζει, τι δεν αλλάζει. Έχουμε κοντά μας μια εξαιρετική φίλη του επιμελητηρίου μας, την Congresswoman κυρία Μαλλιωτάκη από τη Νέα Υόρκη. Dear Ms. Malliotakis, Congresswoman Malliotakis, welcome to AmCham. Thank you for joining us. I know that you are in a super hurry to catch your train, so just to tell you that we are thrilled about the recent results and the significant win that you personally had, not only due to the fact that we consider you very close to us, but because we consider you one of the common sense politicians that we need in every corner of our planet. So, welcome. Let me throw you a first question. Over the past almost 2 hours, we've been discussing again and again about the recent elections, what that means for global geopolitics, for global economic relations. Given your experience in Washington, do you actually think that we will see significant changes with the new administration in relation to our neighborhood in Eastern Mediterranean, in Southeast Europe, and obviously in Greece?
Well, first, thank you for having me today. The American-Hellenic Chamber of Commerce plays such a critical role in making sure that we continue that strong economic partnership between our two nations. And I see that it has really been influential and helpful in growing the trade by double digits between our two nations. And so thank you for all the participants who are there, so we can continue to strengthen this very important strategic relationship, both from an economic perspective, an energy security perspective, and from a military perspective. I would say if we want to know what President Trump is going to do in his next term, we should look at what he did in his last term. And under the last administration, we did see a policy that was peace through strength, in which we saw no new wars created around the world. We also saw significant foreign direct investment between the United States and Greece. And we did see how he was very much a Phil-Hellene, that he did support Greece, he did support Cyprus. I am concerned, quite frankly, about the current administration, what has been done in terms of some of its foreign policy decisions. For example, selling jets, the F-16s to Turkey, and the impact that could have, particularly when we know that Turkey was conducting illegal overflights above the Greek islands. I didn't think this was the proper timing to be selling those jets to Turkey. And so I do have concerns about some of the things that happened under the current administration. But what I will say is that I think the relationship between the United States and Greece will continue to strengthen. And as one of your previous speakers mentioned, Marco Rubio, as the nominee for Secretary of State, is a very good thing for U.S.-Greece relations. He is someone who understands the dynamics in the region. He understands the issues. He understands the need for Europe to have energy independence, and the United States can be a great partner in that. And we are a great partner, and we're moving forward together in that field. So I think that there are some positive appointments that have taken place so far, but we should just look to the last term, and I think that would mean it would be very positive for the region.
Thank you. I'm sure you've heard, you were there actually, during the first administration of President Trump, that when, along with back then Ambassador Payet that we had here in Greece, at the AmCham we had this amazing Thessaloniki Trade Fair American presence that boosted this new momentum in the investments, economic, commercial ties between our two great nations. And getting to that, back then we've seen the successful implementation of the Eastern Mediterranean Energy and Security Act, In the following years, we had these long discussions about the Northern Corridor. There has been discussions about the Three Seas Initiative. In each and every topic, we at the American-Hellenic Chamber of Commerce, just like the business community in the United States, we always see opportunities for stronger collaborations, for stronger partnerships. Do you think that President Trump will sort of continue that direction with all those very constructive initiatives that at the end of the day solidify the partnerships and create stability that we're so much looking for?
Absolutely. And a matter of fact, many of those initiatives began under President Trump or were expanded under President Trump. And so I certainly see that he understands the importance of energy independence in Europe in particular. And I know the vertical gas corridor, I think, is one of the most important projects that Greece is currently working on. And if it truly stays on schedule, it will be a game changer in terms of helping Europe reduce or eliminate completely its reliance on Russian energy. And I think that is so much more critical today than it was when the 3+1 partnership began. I think if President Trump goes back to making America energy independent and export more to our allies in Europe, we have to produce more here in the United States first, right? And I think that there's a lot of opportunity for that. It's one of the things that Republicans have been pushing for, is to ramp up our domestic energy production, not just to drive down prices for Americans and make sure that our industries have an abundance, reliable, affordable resource when it comes to energy, but making sure that we can support and help our allies in Europe. So I think that is one of the biggest areas where I see the most collaboration over the next term is going to be in the energy sector. And Greece has been such an incredible leader in this area, not just with the vertical gas corridor, but the renewables, that they have increased their renewable capacity by significantly. I think it's about 50% over the last couple of years. And I think the other thing that you'll see is more foreign direct investment in Greece. Why? Because the government now, the economy now is more stable and there's more reliability. People want to have certainty when they are making these decisions of where to invest. And you see the slew of companies that are listed in the banner that's below me. And these are all American companies that are making investments. You also see companies like Amazon going to Naxos to make the smart islands. I believe you're going to see more of that. And it's because of the leadership of Prime Minister Mitsotakis, who has really brought stability and economic viability back to Greece.
I know that you are in a tremendous hurry, and we will fully respect that, but I would like to catch one of your latest phrases. The Prime Minister said just a few days ago that Greece is more than a financial headline and is telling a whole new story. I would, with all due respect to our Prime Minister, would add a whole new story of resilience, creativity, and leadership across the board. My question is, do you think that there are people listening to our story in the United States? I know that back in 2018, there were quite a few people that listened and created this new paradigm between the U.S. and Greece relations. Do you still that we can? Do you still that we think that we can still appeal to them?
I do, and I think what makes I think the United States such a great partner for Greece is also the diaspora that you have here. There are very successful business people who are always talking about the great potential for Greece. And you also have organizations like the WHIA, which is the World Hellenic Interparliamentary Association, which is led by an American representative, Senator Malliotakis of Rhode Island, who is a very good friend of mine. And he has really grown the American membership in that organization. We're very fortunate to have many Greek representatives in parliaments across the states, as well as in Congress. In fact, we just added a new member from Florida to our ranks of Greek Americans serving. And so these are the best spokespeople for Greece that can really talk about how Greece has changed over the last decade.
We lost you during the last minute of your final remarks, so I'm not sure you are still there. Σας ζητώ συγγνώμη για την αναστάτωση που σας προκαλούμε.
Can you hear me?
Κυρίες και κύριοι, δυστυχώς δεν θα μπορέσουμε να ξανασυνδεθούμε με την κυρία Μαλλιωτάκη, άρα σας ζητώ συγγνώμη για αυτό το απότομο κόψιμο. Έχουμε όμως ένα μήνυμα από την Congresswoman από την Νεβάδα, την κυρία Titus, το οποίο μας το έχει στείλει ευτυχώς μαγνητοσκοπημένο, άρα δεν θα σας το πειράξουμε αυτό. Παρακολουθήστε το και συνεχίζουμε. Σας ευχαριστώ πολύ και λυπάμαι για την αναστάτωση.
Hello, I'm Dina Titus. I represent Nevada's 1st Congressional District in the U.S. House. It's a pleasure to join you all, although virtually, at this year's Greek Economic Summit. I want to thank the American-Hellenic Chamber of Commerce for inviting me to speak and for hosting this summit. I'd also like to recognize the Atlantic Council, U.S. Chamber of Commerce, and all the sponsors of this important conference. For years, the Greek Economic Summit has been a forum with global relevance and resonance. It serves as a platform for discussion on a wide array of topics between public and private sector leaders from Greece and beyond. Prime ministers, ambassadors, and executives of large corporations have all addressed this conference, and I'm proud to do so today. As a Greek American legislator, I'd like to recognize the important work you all do to transform the geopolitical and economic landscapes, to address cybersecurity challenges, ensure a more sustainable future, mitigate the impacts of climate change, and boost competitiveness. In addition to being a senior member of the House Foreign Affairs Committee and the Subcommittee on Europe, I also serve as a co-chair of the Congressional Hellenic Caucus. Our caucus has worked diligently to advance U.S.-Greece mutual interests, solidify our ironclad bilateral relationship, and bolster our defense obligations in the region and in NATO. Today, the Eastern Mediterranean is a focal point of global security, with rising threats imperiling the region. From Hamas's gruesome attack on Israel, Houthis targeting global shipping routes, and rising tensions throughout the Middle East, we're also seeing a continuation of tensions with Turkey. President Erdogan's coziness with Hamas leaders, paired with his clear disdain for the sovereignty and territorial integrity of Greece and Cyprus, remain as challenges not just to the region, but to NATO. This burgeoning crisis is not just a political one, but threatens the economic outlook for Greece and its neighbors. And that's why I have used my voice on key policymaking bodies in Congress to strengthen U.S. support for Greece and Cyprus, ensure NATO remains cohesive and strong, and address key economic security issues to promote resilience. Recently, I led a bill to remove arbitrary restrictions on U.S. weapons sales to Cyprus to make sure our key ally and crucial outpost in the Mediterranean has what it needs to protect its sovereignty. Excuse me. Furthermore, I've used the congressional appropriations process to fund the Eastern Mediterranean Energy Center to enhance cooperation on energy matters among the U.S., Israel, Greece, and Cyprus. Looking ahead, the future of U.S.-Greece relationship is shrouded in a bit of mystery. 2024 has been the year of elections, and the election of Donald Trump here in the U.S. will be enormously consequential, as it will largely dictate the future of the liberal international order, the future of international institutions and rules, and what the U.S.'s place will be in the global security architecture. Up until now, despite what you may see in the news, the values and norms that have guided the post-war world continue to steer U.S. foreign policy. Multiple rounds of U.S. security and humanitarian assistance to Ukraine, measures to strengthen U.S. engagement with NATO and AUKUS partners, and the CHIPS and Science Act all passed Congress with bipartisan support. We now find ourselves at an inflection point. In 1991, Secretary of State Baker said, "We don't have a dog in that fight," referencing dynamics in Southeast Europe. That isolationist policy catalyzed the violent dissolution of Yugoslavia. That mindset threatens to creep into the foreign policy-making process of the next administration. Sustained U.S. engagement and a clear diplomatic strategy are imperative for countries like Albania, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Montenegro, North Macedonia, and Kosovo to make the necessary democratic and rule of law reforms that they are well on their way to achieving for EU accession. And from the economic perspective, China's emergence as an economic force in Europe is something we will likely have to contend with for years to come. Both the U.S. and EU have employed a de-risking playbook when we both look to protect our economies from outside encroachment, promote our competitiveness and resilience, and partner with each other to amplify our economy's strengths and mitigate weaknesses. The U.S. is pursuing its goals in this regard by allocating over $8 billion to critical raw material projects, investing in AI, and partnering in the U.S.-EU Trade and Technology Council to spread democratic market-oriented values by increasing transatlantic trade and investment in emerging technologies. The continuation of this investment will not only prevent susceptibility that could result in economic shocks and push back against China's malign and predatory business practices, but also further strengthen U.S.-EU cooperation across industries and sectors. With fantastic allies and friends to Greece in this room, I'm confident that our bilateral relationship will continue to grow in the years to come. So please consider me a champion for our common interests, and do not hesitate to reach out to me if I can ever be of service. Thank you. Ευχαριστώ.
Ευχαριστούμε και τις δύο Congresswoman ελληνικής καταγωγής, οι οποίες πρόσφατα εκλέχθηκαν.